and welcome to Winfield's week of Rugby League, a week of upsets really that started last Wednesday night in the National Panasonic Cup clash at Leichhardt Oval between combined Brisbane and the Penrith Panthers. We'll have all those highlights for you. Also, the Saturday match of the day between St George and North Sydney, the Sunday State Bank big game between Parramatta and Cronulla Sutherland at Parramatta Stadium, and as always, all the highlights from each and every other game involved in another weekend of Winfield Cup football. But as I said, the upset started last Wednesday night. And it was a very disappointing Wally Lewis, that combined Brisbane side, I should say, that was led onto the field by Wally Lewis. They were up against a very depleted Penrith Panthers.
Well, the scene at Leichhardt Oval is one of a ground in marvellous conditions, still very, very dry. And it's the combined Brisbane side running from right to left. Wally Lewis is going to place the ball in the middle. And Wally will try to drive this deep, or preferably from the combined Brisbane point of view, over the dead ball line. And get plenty of defence there. Wally Lewis fires one of his passes to Miles. Miles gets it away to the fullback, Peter Gill, and then out to the wing three-quarter. And a good defence coming over there. The ball's gone free, and the referee sees a little tiny knock on there. Alexander with a scrum feed, only 10 metres outside the combined Brisbane quarter. Herring, I don't know much about as a hooker, but he shows that he's just like a lot of the Sydney hookers. He packs with a loose arm too. Robards very close to getting through after an Alexander pass. And there's the penalty to Penrith, failed to get away from the tackled player. It's the fullback Peter Gill who's been pinged for that one. Clearly Mr. Roberts is going to continue the referee's, shall we say, vendetta against the illegalities in the play of the ball. All right, here he is, searching for his 11th goal in this season. He doesn't get it, but he kicks the ball dead. And that was Alexander I'm referring to. The kick has been taken. Two balls on the field at the moment. That's a bit of a worry. The crowd should be aware that when they kick the ball back, a referee can stop play, and indeed the rule book stipulates that he will stop play if there are two balls on the field. It'd be horrendous if a bloke was set fair to score a try. Oh, the little fella's done a nice side-stepping run. Langer taken play in on the last tackle to the Penrith quarter. There's Lewis with a little kick through. Robards fields it eminently well. Could have got an accidental kick in the head, but he took it bravely. Still the man that's doing the dummy half work is the one that's got to be selective about whether he gives the pass or not. Lewis gets a quick ball from Langer, belts it downfield. There's a chase on. The ball's fallen free. Robards is able to fall on it. Peter Gill, the Brisbane fullback's there. Bevan, run around move. And Keogh's there again to get through a fairly substantial amount of tackling. There's Bevan again running strongly. He's been a little bit slack in that area. They can be caught and punished at dummy half by somebody that's a bit quick like Alexander or Bevan. Up to the halfway line. And Simmons spins it out to Alexander. There's young Greg Gibson getting a good kick in. That'll lift his confidence. He's done precious little wrong since the game and the start of the game. Virtually no wind conditions for either side to concern themselves about. The flags on the top of the posts at either end are just lying limp. And I have mentioned Keogh, the lock forward in the combined Brisbane side. There could be the first score of the match. We'll have a look at that again on the National Panasonic replay, because referee Roberts is adamant that a bit of shepherding took place there. This was the situation. He went one way, and there was a holding too, so that's a good bit of refereeing by Roberts. He's sprung it straight away. Now let's see how this Steve Hegarty, the former Manly goal kicker, goes. Just in from the quarter. Struck that pretty well, so there's first blood to combined Brisbane. They lead by 2 points to 0 here at Leichhardt Oval. I'm surprised Lewis hasn't tried a little rubber kick in behind this Penrith side. They're standing up very flat, and Alexander is frequently up in the line. They've only got the line of footballers in defence, and Robards, their fullback, 40 or 50 metres behind them. Just amazed that Wally doesn't run at the defence and then kick the little grubber through. Here he goes now. Offloads the ball nicely to Langer. Langer caught by the jersey from Alexander. Swung to the ground. Miles is the very high up and under. Robards is going to go for it. He was taken right out of the play. It should be a penalty. The referee's paying the advantage rule. He'll come back to the penalty for Penrith. A very good decision, I thought. Robards was absolutely swamped. The ball was in the air still. Look at him, the poor little bloke. It was like David and Goliath there. They were over the top of him, and he had no possible chance to go for the ball. Good decision by Roberts. But he looked very much like a pygmy among the giant oak trees there. Anyway, the kick takes play after 7 minutes of this second quarter, with a scoreline of Brisbane 2, Penrith 0. Penrith now just outside their quarter with Ackery running close to the ruck. Former South Sydney player. Guy losing his knickers there. It was the long, strong hand there of Gary Smith that nearly brought him undone. Royce Simmons kicks downfield, nicely taken by Clinton Moore. He runs across field, he evades one tackle. He's got support, links nicely with Peter Gill. Gill's looking for support. He got his pass away, but the winger's made a meal of it. It's been intercepted by Alexander. Alexander's up the sideline, then he comes back infield, and that's good play. He could have easily been forced over the sideline to where he was going. Lydiard, out they move it along the line. Good one, accelerating. He should look for support. He should not have died with that ball. Lydiard runs from dummy half. He's evaded 1, 2, gets it away there nicely to Gibson. Gibson pumps it up through the middle of the combined Brisbane ruck. Simmons, Izzard, Geyer, dummy, weaving, and a strong fend. Wally Lewis has got him in his clutches now, as has Gary Smith, and that was enough to put him down, slow him down. McCabe with a strong bit of body contact there on Ackery. Alexander, he's gone for the kick straight downfield. It looks as though it's come off the side of his boot. It's way over the sideline, and that is not the sort of kick he was looking for. Mark Robinson on the restart to Simmons. Tucks it to Izzard. Little triple around that was. 3 players coming around the ball carrier. Out to Alexander. Gibson holds the ball, gets it nicely to the player coming through on the inside, Gary Howell. He's still moving it out to Ackery. He's backslammed on the quarter line, midfield. Good one. Well, they're running one out, won't do it. They've got to be a little bit more subtle than that. Alexander out to Bevan, shows the ball. Make a big looping run. He's gone beautifully, got a long pass back on the inside, but it's forward. And that's a pity, because that was a great bit of subterfuge running there by Bevan. He dummied several times, and we'll watch it. There's the pass coming back on the inside, and it was arguably 1.5 meters forward. Bevan, with those ball skills that he's obviously got, he's showing the ball one-handed to the opposition. He's already made one looping run that nearly brought something to fruition. Oh dear. Little Robards there came to a shuddering halt. Craig Iddo pumping it up. That's a good bustling run. He's very much like a clockwork toy. Goes, start him at the start of the game, and he just keeps going. Alexander showing his acceleration. Oh, and he came straight to McCabe, and McCabe sort of cut his teeth on that sort of head-on confrontation. Geyer, the midfield bomb. Lydiard is in front of Geyer and was at the point of the kick, but it's been taken again. There's a ball being slipped out to Izzard. He's got support on the inside, and it goes to Robards, and that's a worthy try to the little fella. Some very fine football there. I thought that perhaps for a moment there might have been, there's Tim Sheens, the Penrith coach, looking pretty pleased about things. I thought for a moment he might have bombed that. He had support on the outside, but let's see it again. There's Geyer going for the big kick. Lydiard was quite definitely in front of him at that stage, but he didn't get involved with the play. He stood around, and there it was, beautifully taken. And the little flick pass went out there. Izzard was able to pick up the dregs. I thought he was going to opt to give it to Bevan on the outside, but he went the other way and gave it to Robards. Alexander from the sideline, he's hooked it a long way to the left, so the score remains at Penrith 4, Brisbane 2. Lewis takes a quick tap. Eugene Miles, they're trying to spin it out wide at the moment. And at the half-time break, and that was the hooter going just a moment ago. And there's a knock backwards. Peter Gill, the fullback. Midway between combined Brisbane's quarter and the halfway line, there's the new boy Dawes coming up, Ray rather. Tony Ray. Wally Lewis, the cutout pass to Miles. Miles gets it away to Grogan. Grogan's got a bit of pace. He's going up the sideline. Tries to get a pass infield, but he can't do that. The arm was too busy with the pen. Good covering by Craig Izzard coming across there. Langer. Wally Lewis. He's gone for the kick straight downfield, and it's taken well by Robards, who read that nicely. Very enthusiastic player, this fella. There he is, running it out. He's run about 35 metres, only a gain, perhaps, of 10 metres. Wilson. Bentley. Bentley's gone up the sideline, tackled again. Now he plays it. Mark Robertson. Well, they're starting to make an inroad through this Brisbane defence, which at times is just a little bit ignoring of the blind side. Simmons turns it back beautifully on the inside. It's to Howe. The pass is taken on the ricochet. It's gone to Wilson. There was a head-high tackle there by the look of it. Well, that could be a Brisbane player off here. We'll watch it again, see the ricochet. The ball went from one Penrith player to another. Wally Lewis is the man responsible for the high tackle. And the referee has not done anything about that. We'll see it again on the head-on shot. It started out along the shoulders and chest and went up to the neck as his body went down. That's in and out. On to Lewis, looking for the run-around move with Langer. Miles, strong player, away there to Herring, the hooker. He's only about 8 metres out. Miles again at dummy half. Running from that position. He's gone within 2 metres. Herring, Wally Lewis has gone for the sort of basketball pass there. He just touched his hand and ricocheted. There's Dowling throwing the dummy. I think the suggestion was to work it back up the blind side then. They're still only out about 3 metres from the line. Wally Lewis is on the charge. He's into the in goal, but it's held up in goal. The crowd applaud that roundly, but by heavens, you've got to give him an E for effort. Little fullbacks had a non-stop game today. Simmons. Benton. Simmons again. Alexander. Izzard, Craig Izzard straight through. He gets a pass back on the inside. It's gone nicely there to Mark Bevan, and Bevan's in for the try by the look of it. Yes, indeed, a very, very nice bit of football there. Watch it now as Alexander fires this long pass, and he finds Craig Izzard, who very nearly put it down. The young man came strongly on the burst and slung the pass back on the inside to the well-backing up there of Mark Bevan. Well, Mark Bevan has done some good things for them tonight, no question about that. But talk about non-stop action as we watch Alexander's kick. Gee whiz, that was a shonky-looking kick. He's hooking them all. So the score now has moved on. Penrith 8, Brisbane 2. We've got about 9 minutes to go. The game is not over. In the event that the Penrith side win, they'll go into the quarter-final. As we watch them now searching for their third try, they'll go into the quarter-final against Cronulla on May the 13th here at this venue, Leichhardt Oval. About 6 minutes to go. Alexander, Vitanza Stands in a tackle, pops the ball, got it to Alexander. Started to skirt through the middle of the ruck. Beautiful run. Alexander's like a hare. He's gone berserk there and just cut him up. Oh, what a run. See it again. Don't move. Stay in your chair. See it again on the National Panasonic replay. That's a class quality bit of rugby league. This is an incredible try by a young man who really knows how to put it. And Batanz is a man that popped the ball to him from a standing start. There he goes. He's 25 metres out. Beyond that, watch it. Change of direction, absolutely beautiful. Clutching hands there. He ignored Leichhardt to the outside, and why wouldn't he? Just see it again. It just gets better and better. National Panasonic replay from head on. Alexander's eyes darting from left to right. The change of direction. Just look at the determination there, and he sights that last opening, and he knows that there it is. Well, that has put the cat right among the pigeons, and as far as Penrith are concerned, it's what they'd say, roll on Cronulla. Gee whiz. Warwick, my statistician there, tells me that he's missed on 4 occasions, and they were all awful kicks. Didn't get them properly off the ground. Well, this one's not much better, but it's a goal. That was not even rolling end over end. It's turning into a very, very comfortable win to the Penrith side. Oh, well, probably the last scrum of the match. And it's taking place about 10 metres inside the Penrith half. We're in injury time. And there it is, and it's been a great win to the Penrith side. Not a flash game, nobody's going to fool you about that. Not a flash game, but there's been enough good football in it for everyone to go away with a feeling that Penrith might be in a little bit of a strapped state as far as injuries are concerned, but they've got a lot of courage.
As we said, a very disappointing combined Brisbane. And on to the Saturday match of the day in the New South Wales Rugby League in a major promotion, moved the St George North Sydney clash to the Royal Easter Show. They were going to be part and parcel of the show for 1987. They were playing at the Showground, and naturally there was a very big crowd in attendance. All eyes were watching the St George side, in fact, to see if they could get back in to the winner's circle.
The St George side, slightly different from that which we've seen in recent weeks. Wilfred Williams back in on the wing because of Ricky Walford having to drop out during the week, and Steve Robertson comes in at 5'8". But look at this forward pack. What a different side this is. Fullerton Smith and Wynn will certainly add a lot of class to that side, especially Fullerton Smith coming back after that injury. The trump card this afternoon, well, who better could it be for St George than Craig Young? He's playing his 200th grade game for St George, and that sign said, good luck, Albert, and we wish him the best as well. North Sydney this afternoon, they've just come onto the field, and let's go through this lineup. Of course, they're coming back from the bye. Conlon at fullback, Tate and Florimo teaming up in the centres, and watch that halfback 5'8" combination, Brendan Clark. They've been in great form this year. But in the forwards, North Sydney have got some big men up front, Bella and McKinnon, and those second rowers quite outstanding at their best, Graham and French. The trump card for North Sydney, it could well be their little New Zealand halfback, Clayton Trent. He's certainly been a dynamo throughout the competition so far, and this man is one of the best organisers in the business. The referee this afternoon will be Mr. Greg McCallum, and what a sight it is here at the Sydney Showground, a venue of some great sporting events in the past, and a magnificent arena. This ground really looked like a billiard table a couple of weeks ago, and really having a look at it, even though the show's been going 24 hours, it still looks in magnificent nick. And there's the kick-off. St George defending the northern end in the first stanza, and that's Funnell who's going to go for the first run of the afternoon, and he's taken to the ground only about 17 or 18 metres out from his own line. Kokas, Wynn trying to bust them up, getting close towards that quarter line. And here's some of the carnivals going on in the background as coming onto the ball this time. St George try to run it up through prop forward Greg Evans, still down on the quarter line, trying to make ground from dummy halfers. Johnsy thought about throwing the pass to Fullerton Smith. In fact, on the outside it's Fraser. Now taking the ball up is Young, and Young chopped down. Good defence round the bootlaces by the centre three-quarter Greg Florimo. Funnell, he's got a big boot on him, up over the halfway, down towards that North Sydney quarter line. Conlon getting back there. Conlon will take it. Oh, they almost made a meal of that. And it is going to be Simons who's going to be wrapped up over on the North Sydney quarter line.
A lot of enthusiasm by the St George players there, and they really need it, David, because Roy Masters, he really gave it to them this week. They've been training very hard, and they've been working on those basic skills. Those fundamental skills have been letting them down over the last few weeks.
So Wright sends it back on the open side, comes McKinnon. McKinnon's wrapped up midway half and quarter inside North Sydney's territory. Now getting the ball back, it's Clark. Clark it is who kicks it up over the halfway, down to the St George quarter line. Funnell takes it well. Now Funnell's going to return the kick. It's a wobbly old kick. It might go out on the full. No, bounces perfectly and is going to find touch only about 9 metres out from the North Sydney line.
Well, I don't know whether he intended that, but that's the sort of start that Coach Roy Masters would have wanted.
As Evans takes the ball ahead and he's tackled. Only about 30 metres out, though, from the North Sydney line. That's Johns. The one-handed found Young. Young back down the centre. A pass that was, well, I don't know who it was intended for, but just as well Evans was Johnny on the spot because he managed to pick it up. He plays it. Johnston sends the pass away to Kokas. Now taking it up is Robinson, the dummy. He's out of one. He's over the quarter line. Robinson with Conlon to beat. Good defence. Back it goes to Kokas, and Kokas is in. Super St George try. Kokas has scored, but mark it down to the 5'8", Steve Robinson.
Certainly was, David, and it couldn't have come at a better time, not only for St George, but for rugby league fans in general. And it's the first time in the entire game that we find someone backing up the man with the ball. Good step here by Robinson. He didn't get much chance last season, the former Penrith player. Fell out of favour with Masters, but there you see the halfback Kokas. And that was because he was at least backing up the man with the ball. Now watch the step. Little dummy, whoops. They get in the way, Cannon and Friend, and he's just going through. He knows that Kokas is there. Looks, and a good pass. And that's what it's all about. You don't need a coach to tell you to back up.
And there's Funnell's kick, and the extras are added. And so St George are leading by 6 points to 0. Steve Funnell taking the kicks at goal to start with. And that must be a dilemma for St George, because besides dropping Bronco de Jura, they also dropped their goal kicker, of course. And losing Michael O'Connor this year wasn't just a loss in one of the classiest footballers in the game, but they lost their #1 scorer as well. So there's the restart from North Sydney. I wonder what that looked like from the sidelines. Hanso.
Well, the try was tremendous, and thank goodness, David, that someone did something. I mean, we've been sitting here for 15 minutes wondering if someone's going to run with the ball and make a break. And I'm glad it was St George, because those two young guys have been toiling very well here today, Kokas and Robinson. And they've taken this game, and let's see if they can go on with it now.
Kokas has probably been their best player all year, but they've made a mistake here in North Sydney. Cannon for the line, and Cannon will score! Cannon has scored for North Sydney, and it's 6-4, and that is the sort of stupid error that Roy Masters has been castigating St George for all week.
Watch this. This is something you don't do in your own quarter. No, Albert, no. Could have been a knock-on. Maybe the referee was unsighted. You may have noticed the touch judge look towards the referee. Now then, he's back in the game, and he realises it to Stanton. 6 points down. Let's see that again. Well, you don't do this, and not from your skipper. Well, I would say that was a definite knock-on. The referee has given him the benefit of a doubt. He's done the right thing, the lock-forward Cannon. You play to the whistle, and no doubt about it.
So Jeff Clark from out on the touchline to attempt the conversion from just outside the quarter line. And Mark Cannon, a former St George player, would have enjoyed that. In fact, a few years ago, St George let him go. They didn't wish to retain his services. Clark from the touchline. There's the kick. It's a shocker. An absolute shocker. So, St George are leading North Sydney by 6 points to 4. Bella. They came up the short side this time. That's French, the former Queenslander.
Well, he's one player, David, that can... oh, that was really bad play. There was a man marking there.
And this will be a chance, no doubt, for Funnell to come up and have a shot at penalty goal. So they're about 28 metres out and about 10 metres to the right of the uprights, and they've got a slight breeze with them, so this should be a good chance for St George to stretch their margin to 4 points.
Very impressed with Steve Funnell here this afternoon. He's very cool, he's very calm. We know he's a very talented ball player. He's got a history of some tremendous cricket scores, and I'm sure that he's out here today to make his name as a fullback, as he has done the last couple of weeks, and he certainly started off on the right foot. We'll just see if he can kick this goal.
Well, it's the right foot he'll be using. In he comes. There's the kick. It's swinging around. Will it swing around enough? It sure will. 2 points to St George, and St George are leading North Sydney by 8 points to 4, and we've had about 30 minutes play here in the first half. The scrum going down just outside the North Sydney quarter line, and a friend is going to get that ball, and they try the blind side through Conlon. Back on the inside comes Simons. Back on the outside comes Friend. Back it goes out towards Simons and Conlon. She was almost basketball, that. Down to the sidelines, and here's Ian Hansen.
I know the mistakes have been high today, David, but I can see since they scored that try, St George, even though they let Cannon in to score his, I can see some urgency coming into their play. Players like Young and Johnson, they're really starting to get this St George team fired up. I don't think it's going to be any instant stardom for these St George players, but they're working on it.
Friend taken on by his opposite number, Kokas, just inside North Sydney's territory. Up there lending assistance with Fullerton Smith. They go the blind side, the Bears, and out wide it goes to Bella, and what a good ball and all tackle that was. That was Michael Beattie, and there aren't many better defenders in the game than Beattie, and that was as good a ball and all defensive tackle as you'll ever see.
Certainly was, David, and one of the, well, the widest men on the field, Bella.
That's not a bad kick from Cannon, but see that little bounce it got just when it got into the in-goal area, gave it the impetus to go across the dead ball line, and play will continue with the tap kick from the centre of the St George quarter line.
Well, whoever invented that particular shape for a rugby ball, David, I mean, let's face it, he must have been having a lot of fun up there in the big football pitch on the sky.
When that ball first bounced, it was going to stop at some area inside the dead ball area, and then it just bounced on the end, and away it went. Hard luck for North, good luck for St George. They've got the ball 32 metres out from their own line. Kokas, away it goes to Fraser. Now it's with Robinson, throws the dummy. Back on the inside, the little man comes. And he's into the ground, midway half and quarter line, down St George's end of the field. Wind's going to be wrapped up or held up. Williams moves into dummy half. St George will kick this time or next time. Williams goes on his own and slips over. He got out of it. And Rex Wright is there all over the top of him at the moment.
Good job he slipped there, because Don McKinnon, the big frame, was really coming in at him.
And there's Funnell's kick. He put it between Cannon and Lennon, and Cannon again positioned himself well and trying to position Lennon as well to get up and play it 34 metres out from his own line. Now that's Tate, and Tate's gone straight through. He's up over the halfway. He's got support coming up. This will be a try to North Sydney. Lennon will score, and this will make it 8-all. Lennon's in.
That really was good football, but I hate to say it, there was 2 feeble attempts by the St George players, and I think you'll find it's Young and the hooker Johnston. Beautiful pass. Now watch the switch here. Now we saw Florimog go through and then straight inside. Now watch him look. He'll point, say, come on inside, and there he is. And Lennon goes in for a well-deserved try. But there was a weak attempted effort. Here you see it from the end on. Oh, dearie me. It was the prop, Greg Evans, that took the dummy. Now look at him. He's saying, get inside. And that's good play. Good positioning by the former Rugby Union wingman. And he'll enjoy that. Back to top form.
So here's Clark. Now Lennon last year played in 7 first-grade games and scored 7 tries. Here's Clark. Can he put the Bears in front for the first time today? No. That wasn't a good kick. So St George and North Sydney 8 apiece. The try scorer, Greg Lennon. Johnston at dummy half. Johnston throws the dummy and goes on his own. Johnston almost down to dummy half. Beattie from dummy half. Away it goes to Kokas, and Kokas sends the ball away towards Fraser. They've got the ball on the halfway line, St George, as Williams runs across field and again slips over. That's the second time he's done that. Just inside North Sydney's territory. Open side, the ball comes away now from Wynn. It went away to, from Young, it went away to Wynn. There's going to be a forward pass anyway, ruled by the referee, and the scrum will go down 5 metres inside North Sydney's territory.
Well, the referee, McCullum, Johnny on the spot here. I don't know whether that could be classed as forward. I thought that Wynn reached back for it, but the referee's certainly a lot closer than what we are.
Touch and go that time. Into the scrum it goes. Referee wants the ball in the tunnel. There it is. Open side and coming off the inside there. You see the pass went from Friend back on the inside to Cannon, looking for that gap. The old three-card trick, but you're amazed how many times it comes off. Good pass from Bella, finds Friend, and away it goes to Clark, and he was certainly weighted on that time by Johnston. Friend, I should say, coming the blind side, French. Friend at dummy half. McKinnon. 32 metres out from the St George line. Into dummy half this time again is right, and Friend wondering which way they go as Graeme gets it, and right on half-time, Graeme gets the ball away. It goes back to Friend. Friend wants to keep the movement going. He's sent the pass away. It stacks on the mill, and that will be half-time as both sides get up. St George and North Sydney, 8-all at half-time. St George's try scorer was Mark Kokas, and 2 goals to Steve Funnell, while for North Sydney, the try scorers Greg Lennon and also the lock forward Mark Cannon. So at half-time, it's St George 8, North Sydney 8. So there they are, the runners getting down now for the footballers' sprint. The favourite is Darren Riley from Balmain, but expect plenty of opposition from Chalice from East. In the centre there, Park from Manly goes very quickly, and so does Gittins from Penrith, Corkreef there from Canberra, Coleman from Cronulla, McIndoe from Illawarra, and they're moving up off their marks, a false start. Representing St George's Steve Thomas, and as you saw, the one who got away very quickly there, Sandy Campbell from Canterbury. So the full field, Riley, Balmain, Chalice East, Gittins from Penrith, Thomas from St George, Coleman from Cronulla, Park from Manly, Thompson from Souths, McIndoe from Illawarra, Scaler from Norths, Canterbury from Campbell, Chalmers from Parramatta, and Corkery from Canberra. They're on their marks. Set. Away, getting away very quickly was Sheehan, and also mustering early speed was McIndoe, but as they come down to the halfway, Riley's cleared out from them. Gittins going well with Sheehan and Campbell, but Riley from Balmain's going to win it. Riley first, give it to Gittins second, Chalice third from Campbell, and then a photo behind those for Chalmers, but no doubts about the winner, Darren Riley from Balmain. Well, there's the whistle for the restart, but let's go down and find out what the instructions were from Stanton and Masters at half-time. Here's Ian Hansen.
Well, it was pretty easy to get some comments from Roy Masters. The St George, like the Swans, stayed on the field here at the Showground. And for those who wanted an insight into some ranting and raving from a Rugby League coach, all they had to do was get within 20 feet of Roy Masters, and that's what they got. Roy obviously wants them to tighten the St George players to tighten up the defence up the centre of the field. That's where they were lacking it up in the first half. In the North Sydney room, Coach Frank Stanton said he wanted more talk from his players and a lot less standing around doing nothing, and let's get on with the game.
So St George at the moment with the ball, and they've got within 10 metres of the North Sydney line as it's played, and it goes across from Kokas, and now picking it up as Wynn, and he goes down the centre. He can't offload his pass though. Tackle number 5 against the Dragons. What will they do here? They've got to try something. It's with Robinson, the little kick in behind the defence. Cleaning the ball up at the moment is Florimo. He's going to be held up, or is he? Evans can't hold him up, the prop forward in the end goal area, and good football from the centre. Gets the ball back into the field of play, and now St George have kicked it through and they play the ball prematurely and given the penalty and the pressure away.
But why, David? That really was stupidity. They put them under a lot of pressure. That was a good kick. It was bouncing all angles. North Sydney didn't know really what to do with it, and they should have decked him in the in-goal area here. Well. But frustration, no doubt, by the prop, Evans, kicking the ball through, and they let North Sydney off the hook.
So North Sydney with the ball at the moment, only down on their own quarter line. Wright running around in circles, and in the end made a good gain of about 8 metres. Getting a bit fresh out here too, the wind getting up just a fraction. North Sydney down towards the halfway line. The ball's played and they go the blind side as it goes away to Graeme. Back on the inside, looking for a runner. There was no one there. As you can see, that rather dilapidated Union Jack is blowing quite briskly in the breeze. There's the kick from North Sydney, their first of the second half. And just like many of Steve Funnell's in the first half, they're going to find touch within metres of the St George line. Well, they've learnt their lesson well.
They certainly have, Debbie. That's going to be the order of the day now. This second 40 minutes. That was a tremendous kick, as we saw with the flag there. The tattered old Union Jack there's a lot of wind, and it's really come up in the half-time break.
The scrum going down. It's come out St George's way. Funnel trying to get away from his opposite number, Conlon, and he's virtually buried into that ground, only about 9 metres out from his own line. Kokas now taking the ball up this time as Beattie. John's in a dummy half. Good defence from North Sydney so far. St George just can't get the ball away from their own line as Young tucks the ball under his arm and goes straight and hard and sends the pass away to Johnston. The flick pass comes back over the halfway towards Fraser. Fraser down towards the North Sydney quarter line, and he's caught in good cover defence. Coming across quickly with Simons. They keep the movement going quickly, St George. Across it goes from Evans. Away out wide it goes back now towards coming down the centre. This time Fullerton Smith. The fumble pass is picked up by another player. Now it's on to Kokas. And Kokas is tackled in tackle number 5. Almost on the North Sydney quarter line. Open side it comes. This is the last tackle against the Dragons. As the kick comes in, it comes off a North Sydney player. They're playing soccer with it. And the St George player, Fraser, just looked at that. I don't think he knew whether he was onside or not. And North Sydney come up with the ball on the quarter line.
Well, that really was silly play. I mean, Fraser obviously thought he must have been offside because he didn't whether touch it, drop on it, kick it.
Let's go down to Ian Hansen. He had a pretty good view of that.
Well, actually, more importantly, David, on the other side of the field, Norths are in a lot of bother here. Greg Florimo is down getting attention, so he could be scratching here in the second half.
And he seems to have injured a leg as Norths have the ball on the quarter line and trying to bust them up this time and getting the pass away towards Conlon. Conlon down towards the St George quarter line. The floated pass out wide goes from Simons. Back on the inside, North Sydney continue the movement going through Cannon, and Cannon's held up in tackle number 5. Only 18 metres away. North Sydney's turn to attack through Friend. Friend puts the kick in, and this will be a try. Willett going to the line as Tate. Back on the inside comes Lennon, and Lennon scores. Try.
Well, put that down to Mark Graham's pass way back in his own quarter that set the full back sailing Paul Conlon from that position. They set up for the try, and I'm sure that the New Zealand halfback won't have seen a bigger gap in his life than this. Watch, he steps here, turns round. Now, you've noticed the 2 St George forwards, they were having a rest. R-E-S-T. Left it in for Tate. Beautiful pass inside. And I'll tell you something, this former rugby union, Lennon, has positioned himself. Positional play today has been excellent.
Back on the quarter line. The chance now for North Sydney to go into the lead by 6 points, and he's missed another one. So Clark's had 3 kicks at goal, and he's missed a lot of them. 12 points to 8 it is. North Sydney over St George. They've scored 3 tries to 1, and yet St George is still in it. And isn't it incredible? St George go 50 metres with the ball, and almost immediately North Sydney run back the length of the field to score that try. Maybe we're going to see the game really opened up in the second half. North Sydney run the ball back towards the St George quarter line. That's French. It's towed through by Wynn. There's a race for the ball. Getting back there, though, and fielding it is Conlon. Conlon is pushed by Kokas. Can he get him back in the field of play? Good football from Conlon. He's got away from all of them. He's over the North quarter line. He's got support. He's up over the halfway. Back on the inside. The ball come. It's been fumbled, gathered up by Florimo, but the scrum will go down for the knock-on. What a good run, though, from Conlon.
Certainly was, but here's the touch judge. Now, this was tremendous play by the full-back. Now, they're all at 6s and 7s here. Fends off one, get out of my way. Has a second go. See you later. Pushes away the second rower there, Fullerton Smith, who's a tremendous defender. Now, good play by the St George winger there, putting in, but not the best pass.
Williams from dummy half, and Williams goes on his own. He's gained another 7 or 8 metres down towards the halfway line. Johnston at dummy half. Kokas holds the pass up this time towards Evans. Evans thought about throwing his pass. He's still going. He's offloaded it. That's Kokas. Back it goes to Brian Johnston, and Johnston's going to play the ball 9 metres inside North territory. Last tackle against the Dragons. As it goes away the blind side, it goes to Funnel. The grubber kick for touch. Looks like it's going to be pretty good, or is it? Conlon gets the ball in the in-goal area. Now, the only chaser up there is Fullerton Smith, and he's easily beaten by the speedier Conlon, and then Conlon gets it 10 metres back into the field of play. In fact, it might have even been Fraser up there, and Conlon who finished up, Fullerton Smith who finished up effecting the tackle. They look similar with those headbands, and there's not much difference in their stature.
Well, that's a bad mistake by North Sydney there, losing possession.
Young with it. Young's pass away. It goes towards Fullerton Smith on his tackle, just inside the quarter-line area of North Sydney. Now it's away to Funnell. Funnell goes on his own, trying to step the North Sydney defence. 12 metres out. North's player down injured. Hurdling him was Billy Johnston. Back it goes to Kokas. He finds a runner in Fraser. Fraser going close. He's only 8 metres away from the North line. Johnston again was waiting for that ball to come back. It was played forward by the St George player, and they're going to get a penalty, St George. The North Sydney player has been ruled offside.
Peg Conlon there. This really isn't a big decision by the skipper. There you see, well, it was a hook at actually right, and he's deemed him to be offside.
Fullerton Smith receiving a bit of a drink in the back play. Roy Masters just walked to the touchline and gave Graeme Wynn a message. We might go down to Ian Hansen. that was quite incredible. Roy just got up off the bench and walked to the sideline to give Wynn a message. There's the kick from Funnell. He's added the 2 points. And so there's just 2 points in it here at the Royal Easter Show. It's St George 10 trailing North Sydney 12. Let's go to the sideline. Here's Ian Hansen.
Well, you guys, as one St George official told me at half-time, and when I asked him if there was any changes, he said, no changes yet.
Let's go down to the sideline now. I'm just trying to work. I think he's got a whack in the head by the looks of things. By the looks of that expression, anyway. And he's speaking at the moment to John Fleming, the St George secretary. And maybe we're about to see Michael Beattie in the head bin for a little while. Johnston. I think that's what it looks like, although the St George camp looked to be taking Michael Beattie back towards the dressing rooms. A pass is thrown away in desperation, and the forced pass sees the error made, and North Sydney come up with possession. Now, Beattie, you can see him holding the back of his neck, so there's no doubt that that's what the injury's all about. Good football from Mark Graham, and now Simon's dashing down the right wing, throws the dummy back on the inside. Good defence, though, from Brian Johnston. Friend, that's Cannon. The pass comes to Teasdale, the long ball out wide. There's plenty of North Sydney fans out here. Look at McKinnon. McKinnon up with the quarter line. The floated pass over the top is grabbed by Lennon. Lennon for the corner. Can he get there? Oh, he's held up. He's trying to reach and put the ball down. And the referee says held up. Well, close for St George, but they should have scored.
They certainly should. Deary me. They had a 4-man overlap. Never mind just one. Now there you can see the replay right at the finish of it. Lennon is held up over the line. The scrum 5 metres out.
Well, North Sydney, they've scored 3 tries to 1. They've had that try, well, that should have been a try. When McKinnon got the ball, he only had 1 man to beat, and he had 4 men in support.
Well, no disrespect to the prop Don McKinnon, but if it had been any other player out in the paddock, it would have been a try.
Fullerton Smith back over the quarter line. He threw the long ball. Perhaps the short ball might have been better.
Well, the gap was so wide, David, that anyone with any speed at all could have gone straight through.
Well, the ball was floated. It was in the air for a long time as Wynn runs it back for St George. Wynn's made a good run. He's got back to within 10 metres of the halfway. 5th tackle against the Dragons. Blindside comes to Funnell. He kicks for touch. It's bouncing end over end towards the touchline, but won't find it. That's Cannon again. I should say Conlon. And Conlon's tackled 10 metres out from the North Sydney quarter line. Tate running across field.
I get the feeling now, David, that North Sydney have the measure now. They realise that out wide, St George has just completely cut the ribbons.
Especially with Beattie off the field and Friends up over the halfway. He's got no support. Can he wrong foot Funnell? Good tackle from Funnell. The one-handed back on the inside is dived on by Wright, and he in turn is claimed by Fullerton Smith inside St George's territory. No support for Friend that time. If he had any, it would have been a certain try. Bella's passed back on the inside, going without it, in fact knocking it on as Cannon, and the referee's going to put the scrum down. As in the end, I think Bella's finished up with the ball. Now there's Jeff Clark receiving some instructions from Frank Stanton. The Masters will bring the changes shortly as North Sydney have the ball, and away it goes to Bella. Bella straight down the centre, and he's got time even to get his pass away to McKinnon. McKinnon throws the dummy back towards the halfway line. Well, Bella had 4 men round him and still slipped the pass. Right at dummy half. That's Friend. Friend on his own. The little chip and chase over the top. He's into the open space. He's regathered. He's got Cannon in support on the inside. Cannon for the line. Cannon will score. North Sydney have got the game all sewn up now. Clayton Friend, the chicken chase. Cannon in support on the inside. It's 16-10.
Well, I said it, David. I said it needs something extra special. A little bit of flair, and this is what it was all about. The New Zealand halfback, he realised there was no one at home. Look at that, all the time in the world. I thought he made a mistake here, but he's heard the call. And Cannon in for the try. And you can say goodbye, St. George. This is beautiful play by the Kiwi. He gets the beautiful bounce. But really, where were you, St. George? Where was the sweeper? You couldn't blame the fullback. He took the man with the ball, and that should wrap up the game.
There's the kick. As we got the first one of the afternoon. First kick of the afternoon successful for North Sydney. Was kicked by their halfback Clayton Friend, and that just about puts the game out of St. George's reach. North Sydney leading St. George by 18 points to 10. And there's another player who's warming up too for St. George as Young goes down the centre. Can Young get his pass away? No. That's Gavin Allen, the man who's come down from Brisbane, the other man warming up as Robinson gets it. On the inside, another St. George player taken across the chest as the referee. Some of the St. George supporters are feeling that it might have been a little bit higher than that, but the referee right there. Blindside, it comes to Funnell. Funnell trying to step through the defence. Taken by Cannon in tackle number 5. Billy Johnston to dummy half. Away it goes to Young. Now Young puts the kick in. It finished up being a reasonable kick, but it could have easily been picked up easily for North Sydney. And in the end, Florimo stepped them. He's put the ball back on the inside. That's Lennon. Lennon kicks it through. Lennon or Johnston. Johnston and Lennon. The two of them racing for the ball. Lennon toes it into the end goal area and it's crossed the dead ball line. Well, two of the speedsters in rugby league doing battle there. And what a sight it was. Lennon versus Johnston. Lennon had the slight edge, but in the end couldn't control the ball.
Plenty of excitement here. Good play by the centre for him out. Got the ball through. Lennon here, he shows plenty of speed. He's the man that gets to him, and just a little bit too strong. But let's go back a little bit further than that. That was an awful kick by the skipper, Craig Young. He kicked the ball to an area where there was only 2 St. George players. They were not even running towards. Now, let's have a look at this. Now, look out wide. They're still out there. No way in the world did anybody on the St. George side know what they were going to do.
I think Stanton was overly impressed by some of that. And I think he'd be pretty happy with the scoreline at the moment, 18-10. Roy Masters must be very disappointed.
Well, he'd have to be, David, but I'm sure Stanton feels that he's out of the danger zone. And talking of danger zones, I think we're going to see a lot of shake-up in the St. George club in the next week. This is appalling.
And there's a good ball away that's picked up by Tate out wide. It's slipped away towards Cannon. Cannon's got support both sides. It goes to Teasdale, and Teasdale will score. No, referee says forward pass.
Well, Freddie can't believe it. It isn't often that Teasdale goes in for a 4-pointer. Beautiful ball here by the skipper onto the fullback, who I think has been the man of the match, Conlon. Now, Cannon has played very well, as has Lennon. And good support play, but just a fraction.
Now Funnell's made a break for St. George, running it up towards the halfway, looking for support. He's found it too. That's Hall. Hall looking for support on the outside. His pass has gone to ground. It's come back to Johnston. Johnston trying to look around. He's still trying to get the pass away, but there was no more support players up there. Wilfred Williams, the wing, has finally got there. He's in a dummy half. He's had it towed through. It'll be 6 to go, or is it? It's knocked on. It's a penalty anyway for the tow through. The referee was playing the advantage rule. So St. George still get the ball. And taking it from dummy half is Wynn. Wynn going straight and hard. He got a pass away to Fraser, and Fraser is in. No, forward pass against St. George this time.
Well, David, I wish I had $1 for every time the coach, Roy Masters, has shaken his head today. At least they were trying. There you saw, get the ball out wide. Wynn slipped it through, no doubt about it. The lock 4 was just slightly in front.
Well, St. George would dearly love to see a tight head go their way here, and they might have done that. They have. In fact, St. George have got a chance from dummy half. It goes away from Robertson. Back it goes to Kokos. It's loose. Picking it up is Fraser, and Fraser has scored. Try to St. George, 18-14, and is there time left for them to come back from the dead?
Well, Good play by St. George. They took the advantage there. And you can, not many times you give the credit to the hooker, but against the head, and good play by Robinson, the 5'8". Kokas get the ball knocked out. Good defence by the Kiwi friend. But there was a lock forward on hand to scramble his way across. And this is good play by the 5'8". He took out the man there. The ball jolts free. And 1, 2, 3, I'll roll, scrape over. They all count.
So Funnel from almost in front to bring the margin back to just 2 points. There's the kick from Funnel, and it's 2 more points to St. George. So 18 North Sydney, 16 St. George, and there's still time left in the game for the St. George Dragons. Couple of minutes left in the match. Williams a dummy half. It comes away towards Robinson. Robinson steps and comes back on the inside. Throws the pass away to Billy Johnston. Now it's with Kokas. His pass comes out wide towards Johns. Johns trying to get away from Tate and can't do so. Good defence on the other side of the field. Now it comes back towards the fullback, and that's Funnel, and his kick goes back to Lennon. He can't handle it. He's still having trouble, but he's got the ball. He knocked it backwards. And so St. George's last chance, I think, is gone by the wayside. And North Sydney will probably just go through this group of 6 tackles, and that'll just about see the match out. North Sydney leading 18-16.
I think you're right there, David. They'll just play it out of here, slow as they can, wait for the kick downfield, try to waste as much time as they can. And to be fair to them, they have been the better side. Any side that scores 4 tries to 2 deserves to take the spoils.
McKinnon going on his own. Good tackling from Kokas. Going up the centre this time as Rex Wright. That's another good tackle from Blackburn. Last tackle against North Sydney as Bella sends it away to Friend to Cannon, and Cannon looking to throw the pass, but Tate had overrun it, puts his kick in. That doesn't look as if it'll be a bad kick. It's fielded there somehow by Funnel, not well, awkwardly perhaps, but he's managed to secure the ball for St. George just outside the quarter line. Well, the full-time siren expected at any time. In fact, there it goes now. So what can St. George do? Nothing, because the referee calls timeout, and that's the ball game as far as the Royal East, the show game, is concerned. North Sydney have defeated St. George by 18 points to 16. Thoroughly deserved to do so, scoring 4 tries to 2.
Certainly did, David, and I thought it was a second half performance by North Sydney that came through very well indeed. And you've got to hand it to their coach, Frank Stanton. It was a case, really, of changing tactics, get the ball out wide. That's where the gaps appeared, and full credit to the Bears. They scored 4 tries to 2, fully deserved to win today.
Last season was a good one. The game's on the up and up. This year, it'll be even better. The battle for the Winfield Cup. True, we've lost some giants. They were a credit to the game. But we've also found some young'uns. They promise to be the same. That's what the big game's all about. It happens every year. We lose a few of our heroes, but find others who know no fear. We see them give it all they know. We see them give it their best shots. It's whether unknown or famous, you gotta give it all you got. That season was a good one. We saw a big man walking tall. But who will it be this year to collect the greatest prize of all?
The State Bank big game for the first time in 1987 included the Cronulla Sutherland Sharks. They've hit somewhat of a purple patch in form, but so too have Parramatta. They've started to show something like their 1986 form, which saw them win the Winfield Cup. And one of their biggest hurdles, the Eels at home at Parramatta Stadium last Sunday, was indeed, no doubt, Jack Gibson, the man that took them to 3 premierships, and of course he was leading the Sharks for what he hoped would be an upset.
The State Bank Big Game presents the Winfield Cup.
Parramatta extended their lead 6 minutes into the second half with a sensational try. Brett Kenny did the initial lead-up work before Michael Mosley found Sterling, who brilliantly flicked the ball back inside for fullback Graeme Atkins. Peter Sterling capped off a fine all-round display with a superb individual try. Replacement back Darryl Neville scored a late consolation try for the Rabbitohs, but Parramatta were far too strong, running out winners by 19 points to 6. Cronulla led by 24 points to 12 at the break, and the second half was a scrappy affair. Ron Quinn scored the final try of the match as the Sharks notched their 4th win of the season, 34-22.
That's the way the Eels and the Sharks went around last weekend as we welcome you to Parramatta Stadium for today's Winfield Cup clash between Parramatta and Cronulla Sutherland. In the 2 premiership rounds last season, Parramatta won the first at Ronson Field, but Cronulla turned the tables when they met at Parramatta Stadium. On the current Winfield Cup premiership table, Cronulla are on 8 points and Parramatta 6, with both sides having won their last 2 competition matches. The Eels team to take the field today is Atkins, Chalmers, Laurie, Wolf, Groth, Kenny, Sterling captain, Linda, Muggleton, Wynn, Leibeta, Mosley and Bugden, and their coach is John Money.
John, how big a hurdle is it, the fact that you're up against Jack Gibson, a man that's spent so much time at Parramatta?
Well, he certainly knows all the players, Graeme, and, you know, he knows a fair bit about my coaching style, so it's a bit of a problem, but, you know, our momentum's going and we're confident.
The Cronulla Sharks team today is Docking, Coleman, Ettinghausen, McGaw, Watson, Speechley, Quinn, Nixon captain, Diamond, Staines, Sorensen, Miller and Wicks, and Jack Gibson is the coach.
Jack, is it a big advantage having been here and done that for so many years at Parramatta for you today?
Well, I'll tell you what, the crowd's a weapon. If you watch that last under-23 game, you know, the middle man was totally intimidated by the crowd, but we're lucky we got an experienced referee in Roberts.
The referee of our State Bank big game, as Jack has told us, is Kevin Roberts. Parramatta running from right to left. Muggleton's got them in action. Docking's going to field the ball back near his line. And Cronulla running from left to right. Have got first use of the ball just out inside their quarter at the moment. Gavin Miller working the run around with Docking. The Parramatta defence coming up very smartly. Graeme Hughes, no wind to affect the issue today.
No breeze at all. Terribly hot out there in the middle, and all important the first 15 minutes.
Yes, indeed, and one would think perhaps that a couple of the very big men in this Parramatta side, Leibeta and Bugden, might feel the effects of heat during this game. Oh, there was a attempted take there by the wing 3/4 for the Parramatta side, Eric Groth, to pull down a ball that was kicked hard at him, and he didn't feel that well. Now we're going to touch judge in. Eric Groth wearing one of those protective sort of headgears, which is to cover the cheek as well, where he's had a fractured jaw. Mosley being spoken to on that occasion. It's going to still result in a scrum around about the halfway line. Kevin Roberts, the referee. Quinn, the former Parramatta player, feeding the scrum. It's one against the feed, straight away to Sterling, gets it away to Kenny. Kenny offloads it outside to fullback Atkins. Still their own side of halfway. Sterling. Linda, who's been quite a success with the Parramatta side in the couple of games he's played. They're moving it wide. There's a long cut out past the Groth. He's up towards the quarter, and a beautiful tackle comes in from Diamond, right round the boot tops and brings the Guru down. There's the first handling error on the Parramatta side. Double knock on, the referee has ruled. That pass came to Leibeta low, and he really had no chance of it. There's the tackle on the State Bank replay. What a beautiful tackle it was. His father, Diamond, the former big winger that played for Australia, would be very, very proud of that one. Again, says referee Roberts. That's in and out. Being kicked through by Parramatta, feet up, so it'll be a penalty to Cronulla, about 12 metres their own side of halfway. Yes, just getting back to the big prop forwards, Leibeta and Bugden from the Parramatta side, 2 enormous men, both of them I would estimate well over 17 stone, and in these very superheated conditions here they could start to drag the chain a little bit in the latter part of the game. Maybe the referee will, the coach of the Parramatta side, Money, will think long and hard about that. Time will tell. Miller. Quinn wrapped up straight away by Sterling, evades that tackle and comes into the hands of Muggleton, who backslams him. They're on the halfway line. Nixon. A bit of a workhorse in this Cronulla side, captain. Quinn, talking about workhorses, there's another one, Sorensen. Dane. He's been a very strong front row forward all his career. Miller right through gets the, oh, well, he couldn't get his arms free just at the last moment. I thought he was going to get it past the dogging. Just busted the defence there momentarily. Out it goes to Speechley. Speechley back on the inside has evaded a couple of fairly ordinary tackles. Last tackle coming up. And Diamond knocks on at dummy half, and that will bring, I would imagine, a bit of an expletive from his coach, Jack Gibson. No pressure there. And there are the lower grade results. An absolute runaway in the reserve grade. Parramatta 44, Cronulla 18. And a very exciting 14-all draw in the other game. Atkinson has gone through one tackle, and we've got a Cronulla player, Glenn Coleman, down holding his neck and chest at the moment. Penalty goes to the Parramatta side midway between their quarter and halfway. Coleman had a pretty heavy knock there, Graeme Hughes.
Just a knock to the throat. Coleman gasping for a little bit of breath. He might be doing a little bit more of that rather heavily in the next 15 or 20. This is incredible the way this heat's hung around for the start of this Winfield Cup.
Okay, Mosley now from the tap restart. Sterling. Kenny pops the pass to Bugden. Right round the legs was Speechley. Way to bring the big fellas down. Still they go. Lee Beater coming off a Muggleton pass. There's Muggleton again in the action. Wins out there, taking the pass from him. They've taken it up to the quarter. Parramatta backsline deep. The run-around move with Sterling. Sterling gets through the gap, tries to pop a pass. Does that to Kenny. Could be a try on the end of this. Cutting out passes, going out to Chalmers. Chalmers has found the line, and he's been taken in a touch about a metre short. Some splendid defence coming across there in the shape of Andrew Eddinghausen. See that again on the State Bank replay. Chalmers thought he was in for a try, and there was the tackle that just got him over the sideline, fractionally short. Quite definitely into touch, no question about it. Kenny away to Wolf. Wolf still gets the pass away, gets it away there to Linda. Linda's a strong player, but can't break the defence there as Staines came to him. Mosley over the top goes to Lee Beater, gets a pass to Wynn, wins up the sideline, got the pass back into Atkins. Atkins got a pass away, and it's gone out to Growth, and Growth is in for a try. Well, that is one right out of the blue. That was beautifully taken by Eric Growth, but I had a bit of a suspicion that that last pass looked a fraction forward. The referee seemed to be well positioned to see it, but here's the action. Lee Beater onto Wynn. Wynn gets the pass to Atkins. Well, the referee was fairly well in line with it, but beautifully taken by the guru, Big Eric. Lee Beater again. Wynn was the man that made the surge, got the one-handed pass back into Atkins. Atkins tackled but not put down. And Growth has never taken a shorter run for a try. I think it took a stride and a half to get over the line. Graeme Hughes.
Great support play by Parramatta. They just worked on a short blind there. They've been trying to catch Cronulla out wide with long cut-out balls from Sterling and Kenny, but on this occasion they just worked the short blind. Good backing up, and I think to mine that last replay might have hinted that that last pass was just a touch forward.
Here's Muggleton from the sideline, 1 metre out from the quarter. It's a good-looking kick. It's a beautiful kick, and there's Parramatta. 6 points to 0 over Cronulla Sutherland. 13 goals Muggleton's kicked for 1987. There's Atkins, the fullback. He just drops the ball behind him. The referee construed it as a knock-on. I'm not going to argue with that because even though he was facing sideways, he did appear to propel the ball forward. The handling from both sides, not great. McGaw coming straight and hard on the burst. Staines at dummy half. Speechley. Quinn. Beautiful pass there to Glenn Coleman. He's right in. Nobody's going to catch him. Least of all, Eric Growth from there. He's on the chase, his Growth, but he hasn't made any impression. And a great try to Coleman. Showed blinding pace, and that's his 7th try for the year. A look at the State Bank replay will show the pace of this man, the way he injects himself into the line there. So here it goes again. We're watching the action from the head-on shot. There he comes in between two, evades Sterling. Just showed a clean pair of heels. Very, very strong. Carrying the ball in his right arm because the nearest Parramatta player to him was Growth on the left and coming into, well, shot just a little bit behind the action there. Again from a ground-level camera. There it goes. The pass nicely given to him. Through the gap he goes. The acceleration had Sterling done for pace. And away he goes, Coleman, showing a real galloper's gait with a high knee action, and the legs just go a little bit straddled there, as you can see. Very effective. And Big Eric Growth looming up behind him. Graeme Hughes.
one of the few occasions where Parramatta certainly got their mail wrong. Graham Atkins was up in the defensive line making a tackle. Normally on those occasions you then find Peter Sterling drops back to the fullback position, or even Bobby Lidner. They didn't realise that Atkins was in the front line and nobody was at home. If you wanted any answers about Coleman getting home before, he showed you there.
Okay, the goal kick has been taken by Sean Watson. I'm reliably informed that S-E-A-N is Sean and not Sean, not the Irish pronunciation, but there it is. Parramatta 6, Cronulla 6, and we've had 17 minutes of play in the first half on a very hot and beautiful day here at the Parramatta Stadium. Muggleton drives that deep. Watson down on one knee to take it. Cronulla just outside their quarter. Gavin Miller, the run around with Docking onto Staines. Staines gets a pass away to Speechley. There was no support there for him to give the ball to. Docking. Nixon pounded to the ground there. Dane Sorensen, midway between the Cronulla quarter and halfway. Gavin Miller goes for a trot. It's only about a 2-metre gain. Last tackle coming up. Watch for Speechley on the left. There he goes. There's the pass back on the inside to Nixon, but it's gone to ground, and Parramatta have come up with the ball. That was only going to be a good pass if it went to hand. He left it very late. Muggleton offside, inside the 5 yards. Nixon and Sorensen. He's pointed at two of them, both inside the 5. That's the halfway line that Sterling's standing on. Sterling again up to within 5 metres of the Cronulla quarter. Okay, Sterling from the tap restart onto Muggleton. Mosley. Kenny, beautifully to Linda. Linda through the gap, got a pass back inside to Mosley. Mosley's buried under 2 defenders about 15 metres out from Cronulla's line. Up they go to the left. Kenny, Sterling, cut out pass to Muggleton. The pass has gone to ground. Sterling comes back, picks up the drinks. Can't offload. Taken out of it by Sorensen. Win from dummy half. Running a little bit like a soldier crab, got a bad pass away, got it to Mosley. Mosley to lead leader. And Parramatta looking very disorganised at the moment. There's Wynn running from dummy half. Sterling, long cut-out pass to Muggleton. Bit of danger out here, but a good tackle there from Speechley puts him down. 18 metres out from Cronulla's line. Kenny. Sterling did well to take that. The ball has gone into the... No, it hasn't. It stopped about 5 metres short when Docking came down on it. I thought it was too hard. Wicks has his legs taken away from him, just short of his... There's a replay on the State Bank... replay, and it shows that Docking had to copy his licks there. In other words, he had to dive on the ball right at the feet of the player. There's a bit of a break on by Cronulla now with the play coming right upfield here. It's Andrew Ettinghouse, a beautiful run. He's got Sterling on the outside. He's done Sterling to face. The Guru's trying to get to him, but he's stumbled on the inside, and Ettinghausen's come away with a run that's encompassed about, 70 yards of the field, and a splendid exhibition of the young man's beautifully balanced running style and great pace. It's just a great misfortune for Parramatta that Sterling has been made look pretty ordinary in 2 defensive lapses. He's not the fastest halfback going around, but he's been in position. Had he just had a touch more pace, he could have pulled off 2 spectacular tackles. There's Ettinghausen looking beautiful as he runs. Sterling comes at him, dives, can't get to him. You can see, I think Eric Grath actually ran out of a boot there. And there's Ettinghausen finishing it off. A beautiful bit of work there. The end of the play, there's Sterling diving. We watch it from the very elevated shot up top. Ettinghausen going up the sideline, and Eric Grath, as you see, has run out of a boot. Graeme Hughes.
Well, today's conditions, this is the sort of thing you've got to expect in this game of football. Very, very hot. As soon as a mistake is made from one side of the field, or if there's a change in possession, this game is going to be based on counter-attack. And Cronulla were quick to realise then that they had the numbers out wide. A great ball from Ronnie Quinn, a little bit dangerous close to the line, but he read it well. McGaw did well to unload, and Eddinghausen, as you say, one of the best balanced runners in the Winfield Cup. Beautifully unbalanced. Eric Grotham just too fast, too much room to move for Paul Peter Sterling.
Indeed. Watson now from almost the same position as the previous try. Correction on that. From wide angle on this occasion, looking good. Well, there it is. I spoke to Jack Gibson earlier in the week and said, what changes are you making? He said, I've got to get a goal kicker into the side. I will be bringing Watson in on one wing. Well, that's worked already because he's kicked a couple of very good goals. I'm telling you now that Parramatta have got a bit of a job on their hands because this Cronulla side look full of running. 12 points to 6 they lead. We've had 22 minutes of play in the first half. Docky pulls off a fine catch near his line. Cronulla, Gavin Miller, out to Staines, bumps one defender right out of the way. That was Brett Kenny. Gavin Miller looking out to McGaw. McGaw's got support on the outside. It was Staines, but he couldn't get a pass away. Sorensen to Miller. Miller's pass onto Speechley. Speechley out there to Diamond. He can't make the arms free as the tackle of Lebetter came in. They're keeping it alive, no doubt about that. McGaw's in the clear. He's got it away to Staines. Staines is over the halfway line. Here's another try to Cronulla. It's a beautiful one, and it's Watson this time. It's going to go in and score very close to the post and goes through the tackle of Jackson in goal to score. Well, the floodgates are starting to open here. One of those days for Parramatta. Just look back and we can quickly pan back up the field from a high shot and look at the Parramatta players. Well, we can't do that at the moment. We're on replays. But there you are. You'll see the very fine bit of football there was Staines getting the overlap on the outside, gets it back on the inside to the winger Watson, who shows good pace to go the distance and score the try. What I was trying to illustrate was the number of Parramatta players still back at halfway when that try was scored. Now we're watching it again with a long pass to McGaw, who took that well, virtually leaping in the air to catch it. The pass to Staines was a good one. That's the halfway line. He goes about 20 yards, gets it back on the inside to Watson, and there's just no defence there. Again, Atkins been caught out of position. Jackson was there to try to disavow him of the football in goal, but he wasn't able to do that. Now Watson gets the opportunity to convert his own try. It's successful, so that score hastens on to 18 points to 6 in favour of the Cronulla side. Watson, incidentally, scored 54 points at 86, already 10 points at 87. And going back to the Andrew Eddinghausen beautiful effort a while ago, he scored 9 tries on 86. Of course, he was a big hit in England in the 86-87 season. E.T. the nickname. Andrew Eddinghausen. Cronulla, really. Graeme Hughes, they've got this Parramatta side wet at the moment.
Well, these sort of conditions just aren't made for the likes of Terry Lebetter and Jeff Bugden. On the occasion of the last Cronulla try, Bugden found himself up against Mark McGaw. And in situations like this, when there's such a game as open as this one is developing, well, that's just going to lead to further breaks and further tries. McGaw had too much for Bugden, but I just got my eyes on Brett Kenny. He's been carrying a shoulder injury for the last 2 matches. I believe he's been wearing shoulder pads. He's not wearing them today, but he is still carrying a shoulder. He's got to make up his mind whether he wants to be out there or not.
Yes, well, he missed a tackle rather badly about 5 minutes ago. It didn't lead to a try, but he was certainly badly done. There's a beautiful bit of work by Wicks, getting it on to Diamond. Diamond back on the inside to Eddinghausen. Eddinghausen sprints, gets a pass away to Nixon, and Nixon's in for a magnificent try. And they're carving Parramatta up at the moment. Cronulla players are delirious with delight about the whole thing, but they are absolutely carving this Parramatta side to shreds. 22 points to 6. They've still got 14 minutes to half-time. Oh, the faces of the Parramatta fans around, as I look around, they can't believe it. Wicks was the man that created this effort. There he goes, the big strong fellow, the pass back on the inside to Ettinghausen. Watch Ettinghausen's skill as he's tackled, gets the pass away selectively to Nixon, and Nixon was the man who sprinted over and scored it. Nearly the man that put the ball down. Here's Wicks, the lead-up work. He's got it away there nicely to Diamond, the big, strong second rower. Turns, gets the pass to Ettinghausen. We're watching this beautiful moment where he's just tackled but still gets the pass away, a la Johnny Raper. And that is a beautiful try to Nixon. So again, Graeme Hughes, the floodgates opening.
Yeah, and Sean, who has seen Watson, I should be saying knocking up, taking shots at goal.
Well, he'll love it. Well, there he goes. And do you believe? Go out and tell your husband if he's working in the garden. Go and tell your wife if she's gone down the road with the kids that the Parramatta side is in all sorts of trouble, and come back and watch this beautiful brand of rugby league that Cronulla are playing. The kick is going to go down Docking's throat. Takes it well just inside his own quarter. He's got to pass away legitimately, but it's been dropped by Quinn. Well, that was a little momentary lack of concentration. About 7 minutes to go to half-time. 24 points to 6, 4 tries, 4 goals to a try and a goal. And a crowd that we estimated around about 14 to 15,000. Many of them sitting here, absolutely none. Sterling, Kenny. Well taken by Speechley down below, Nixon over the top. Sterling. Wolf not going anywhere. Atkins not going anywhere. Parramatta very slow to reorganise and regroup. Mosley, Sterling. Have you seen Sterling adopt this type of a role before, Graeme, just standing as a pivot?
Well, I have. It's a role that he often played in England. What he's trying to do is just get these guys to go forward. This is what's got to go and send the ball wide.
OK, here they go now with Jackson. Pass back in the wing and they're in for a try. Or did he lose it? No, the referee's going to rule on that. The referee says fair try and illustrated it with a downward motion. So watching it again, and it starts with Sterling doing exactly as I've been talking about, just standing still and giving the pass. He was able to move it out to Kenny. Kenny swung it very, very wide. The pass back on the inside to Jackson was a good one, and there was Wynn backing up, and I think a good reward for Wynn. He's been trying very, very hard. Well, I'm not so sure he got the ball down at the end of it, though, but we'll see it again. What do you think, Graeme Hughes?
Well, it was great play by Parramatta. They've finally decided to move forward. The forwards have got to take it upon themselves to do 1 or 2 rucks up the middle, and it is a good reward, and I was quite sure that he does get the ball down. Yes, he did.
Yes, one-handed. OK, so that's it. So there, got some esteem back again. 24 points to 10. A relatively simple kick at goal coming up, with Muggleton to take it from about 13 metres out and only about 10 metres off centre. Yes, indeed. So the Parramatta fans start to cheer once again. They think it's not a lost cause. There's the scoreline with a couple of minutes, 4 minutes to go, 24 to 12. Cronulla come up with a scrum win. The referee's not happy, says in again. It's a penalty to Cronulla. Feet up. One minute to go to the half-time break. Watson to kick for touch. It's a towering kick. It looks like a great ground gainer too, by heavens it is, with only about a very slight angle to kick. He's gained about 27, 28 metres. That's a fine kick. Well, there's the hooter. Docking gets the ball up in the air. He's been taken out of it by Mosley. Through come the Cronulla players. Sterling takes it. So at the half-time break, with the players coming off for a well-earned rest in a game that's been really played at a frantic pace, 24 points to the 12 Cronulla lead. There have been 4 tries to the Cronulla side. Coleman, Ettinghausen, Watson, Nixon. And Watson has scored 4 goals from 4 attempts. For the Parramatta side, Growth and Wynn tries. Muggleton 2 goals from 2 attempts. So Roberts has got them underway. Watson kicks off. And the ball holds up fairly well in the air, goes to Sterling. Sterling got it onto Krakovic, who's now playing fullback under our observations. Atkins apparently has moved to the wing, but we'll work that out from the next scrum. Kenny gets a bit of a clout across the head there from McGaw. The referee wasn't concerned about it. Laurie running from dummy half. They're still inside their quarter. Now away to Leadbeater. He's taken back and actually loses a bit of ground. He was running sideways when he took that. Mosley. Bugden ran with him and overran him. Last tackle, look for Sterling. Muggleton trying to get it away. The kick's been charged down by Sterling. And now Cronulla back in possession. That was Diamond that fell on it. Staines onto Quinn. Quinn away to Gavin Miller. Miller's halfway through the gap, tackled by Bugden and ridden into the ground. Only about 15 metres out from the Parramatta line. There's the runaround move being put on. Through comes Quinn. A little halfback who I think has enjoyed this match enormously today. Speechley goes on the attempt to go between two players. They got wrapped up smartly. Sorensen away to Docking. Docking's gone through the gap and taken out about 2 metres from the line. Last tackle coming up. They move it wide. Gavin Miller's there. He gets a pass away hard to Wicks. Wicks is actually over the line and loses the ball. And I think we might have somebody against the uprights here that's come in hard contact with the post. The referee's concerned. And there's the ball going free. There's no suggestion of a try. He didn't actually get into the in-goal area. Lost the ball in the field of play and lost it over the line. Looking at the State Bank replay again. There's Wicks on the ricochet, sort of pivoting, and did appear to come in contact with the upright. The touch judge is on, and he's talking to Wynn there, I believe. But Roberts was very quick to jump in there. He thought, and rightly, let's stop the play if they're too close to the posts. He assured himself that no try had been legitimately scored. Now what? Yes, you're probably right. We're just watching that. The penalty may well have been awarded to the Cronulla side for holding. That's what he was talking to Wynn about. Holding a player not in possession of the ball. Well, I think Watson will certainly take a kick at goal here. Now, Wicks is being walked around in the in-goal area at the moment by the trainers, and we've got a replacement on Graeme Hughes.
Brad Perry is the man out there in 24. We'll just wait for Wicks to come round. We'll do a check on him and just see if, in fact, he is going to go back out.
Scrums went 8-5 in Parramatta's favour in the first half, 2 against the feed. The penalties were 4-2 in Parramatta's favour. Possession held by Parramatta for 66 tackles, by Cronulla for 58. Missed tackles 12 to Parramatta, only 5 to Cronulla. Watson now. It's a goal. So they've advanced that half-time score, and it moves up now to Cronulla 26, Parramatta 12. The referee not happy with that scrum from Parramatta. It's a differential penalty. Watson. Just inside Parramatta's quarter now. Staines to take this tap, running across field, now tries to straighten it. They have 3 or 4 variations they use in that move. Call a different signal, do a different result. Onto Nixon. Docking frequently up there in the dummy half role, the little fullback, half-back size. Perry pounding his way forward, 15 metres out. Out they go to Gavin Miller. He's searching for somebody coming straight and hard on the burst. That's an awful pass, but it's picked up by Docking. Speechley at dummy half. There's the crossfield kick. It's been taken by McGaw, but it's offside. Referee very quickly ruled that McGaw was in front of the kicker. The State Bank replay may show what Roberts has seen in that instance. Well, it looked pretty line ball, but we're not going to argue with the referee over that, but it was going to be a try very close to underneath the post had he been allowed. Yes, I thought that was pretty line ball. How did you see it, Grant?
Well, what he's had to have ruled, Kevin Roberts, is that as the ball was played, the Cronulla back line were well and truly inside the 5 because it was the dummy half that kicked the ball. Now, when he did kick the ball, I think the television replay clearly showed that at the time that he kicked it, the Cronulla players were well and truly behind him.
Bugden at the halfway line. Mosley at dummy half. There's Laurie searching up the middle of the ruck. Tackled. Mosley was there in support, couldn't get the pass to him. It's out to Sterling. Now to Kenny. Kenny offloads nicely to Krakovic. Krakovic gets a pass back inside to Jackson. Jackson nicely to Linda. Linda will score. It's a good try. And Parramatta comes steaming back 26 points to 16 with a kick-at goal to follow, and the state back replay will show a lot of quality football there. They're watching it now. Out she goes, puffing it out to the left. Kenny's pass was a beautiful one to Krakovic. Gets the pass as he's falling back on the inside. And there it is to Linda, and he sights the line, and there was no way that anyone was going to stop him. Again, looking at the state bank replay from the elevated shot, Kenny's pass to Krakovic as he was falling, beautifully offloaded it to Jackson. Jackson onto Linda. Perry was a little bit slow there to react to the change of direction, and a good try. Graeme Hughes.
The fundamental parts of rugby league have been outstanding today, especially in attack. They've been struggling in defence with this heat, but the backing up and passing in that movement there was sensational. And it's just underlining the way a game opens up in these sorts of conditions. You have your chances to counter-attack, and you've just got to take them. Cronulla, well, the referee ruled against the way they wanted to take their chance. Within 60 seconds, a try to Parramatta at the other end.
Muggleton from a metre inside the sideline and a metre and a half inside the quarter. He's kicked it. It's a beautiful controlled slice. Went to the left and came back to the right, just like my drives off the tee. Only mine aren't quite so well controlled. And that was another fine goal. There it is. It's not over yet. Don't go away. Cronulla 26, Parramatta 18. Back come the Eels. Watson to restart the play for Cronulla. The crowd's really going to get behind this Parramatta side in the dying stages. We've had 11 minutes of this second half. Just up towards the quarter line came Atkins. Mosley picked off. Penalty flow in the last stages of the game can be critical. Win. 26 points to 18. Sterling. Downfield it goes. Docky gets a fortuitous bounce. On its end, straight up in the air and into his hands. Well, he's gone through that. He's upfield again towards the halfway. Miller, Speechley, out to Quinn. Good evasive run there from the little fella. Weaving run, takes it into the Parramatta half. Sorensen, Perry. Only two Cronulla players on the left-hand side of the field. All the rest of them are on the open side. Miller on the last tackle. On the blind side they go. Quinn has his kick charge down, falls on it, 6 to go. Touched by a Parramatta player, an attempted pick-off. Well, you can feel the tension in the air here. This is Perry's thrown it straight back to the opposition. But Nixon's cleaned it up so that they don't get the ball cleanly, so they've got to win it from the set scrum. And Perry's handling on that occasion was pretty ordinary. Knocked it straight back towards the opposition. The Cronulla captain minimised the error by falling on the ball. Now the Parramatta forwards have to win it, which they've done convincingly. Atkins wrapped up as Sterling gives him the pass on the blind side. 26 points to 18. 12 minutes of the second half gone. Laurie, away to win. Thought he was going to try to offload a one-handed pass there, but he thought better of it. On to Laurie. Meets strong defence. The Staines there. And Perry. Sterling driving it downfield. That looks like it might be a good kick. It's a beautiful kick. That's vintage Sterling. Torpedo putt, end over end. And has made a gain of about 38 to 40 metres on that occasion, bringing play to within 10 metres of the Cronulla line. I wouldn't be at all surprised to see both coaches make changes again in the not too far distant future, Graham.
Changes are certainly going to be brought about in this game. Another scrum win against the feed for Parramatta. Just can Cronulla hold out the Eels? This is the second set of 6 tackles. Let's just see how much pressure they can soak up.
Kenny. Mosley runs from dummy half. Speechley takes him out. He's only about 8 metres out. Sterling trying to weave and run, but he had no support on the outside. Slowly to his feet. Mosley again. No, it's Pekovic there. Now Mosley. Away to Sterling. Little grubber kick through. Who's got it? It's anybody's. There's knock-on every way. Well, the crowd going frantic there. There were half a dozen knock-ons in that little scenario. The kick put through, knocked on one way as the State Bank replay shows. Everybody had a go at it. Tension. With 3 wins against the feed to the Cronulla side in the set scrums. And again they've come up with a scrum win. Well, this is pressure now for Cronulla. Only a couple of metres out to Linda. Onto Atkins. Atkins is wrapped up by Nixon. Nixon getting through a power of work for the Cronulla side, as indeed he needs to. Mosley from dummy half. He's only about half a metre away. Atkins at dummy half. Sterling feeds it to Linda. Linda effectively tackled, 5 metres out. A bit short-handed out in the left. Sterling goes for the long cut-out pass to Kenny. Kenny got a pass away. It's put down. And Cronulla come up with the ball only about 4 metres from their line. Nixon was again the saviour. Well, Cronulla now have to play steadfast football for a few minutes to sort themselves out. They've been under enormous pressure. Diamond tried to come away with it there. Quinn, Perry. Attention to details. Oh, geez, you're getting good at that estimating of crowds, Graeme Hughes.
14,755. I think that's close enough in the last 2 weeks. I think I'll rest.
The kick downfield taken there by Jackson. He's trying to bring it back. He's got Speechley in front of him. Speechley can't get to him. But Diamond can. Laurie trying to weave his way through the ruck. Mosley, long pass to Sterling. Sterling to Kenny. Kenny trying that footwork, but not coming off today. Win up the blind side of the ruck. Just taken over the halfway line. Mosley. Linda. Good tackle right round the boots there by Ettinghausen. Last tackle coming up. Mosley goes the blind side. It's to Muggleton. Throws the dummy. Got a pass to Mosley, which looked forward to me, but the referee says not. And again, that ball may have come off Watson's leg, but the referee was close to the action. Just a quick look at the State Bank replay, and we shall see. Well, I'm pretty sure that Mosley had the ball in a forward position there when he kicked it. Well, there'll be a penalty if they don't keep that scrum square. Sterling gets it in. Again, the referee says. 13 minutes to go. Handling errors, 16 to 12. Kenny gets a pass to Laurie. Laurie goes through the middle of the back line there, stepping back off the right foot. Win. Out to Sterling. Sterling looks to support, got it to Muggleton. Muggleton caught by one leg, bounces to his feet once again. Sorensen's there on the quarter line for the tackle. Mosley. Don Price. Craig Diamond's down there in back play at the moment. Wins on the charge for the line. On the surge, he's come out very close, got a pass away. It's gone to ground, it's been picked up by Jackson. Jackson evades one tackle. Speechley comes and takes his legs from underneath him. Out to Mosley, on to Sterling. Sterling back to Mosley on the run around. Last tackle coming up now. Can Cronulla withstand the pressure? Sterling gets it away to Krakovic. The ball's gone free and Cronulla come up with it. Only 3 metres out from their line. 12 minutes to go. 26 points to 18. Both sides leg weary. Absolutely shot to ribbons in the forwards. Some of them can barely lift their arms. And Graeme Hughes, you got another change.
Well, he's had to come from the field this time, Craig Diamond, and out there in 19 is Scott Gustard.
Gustard, a useful player too. He's playing in number 19. Becoming a marathon of endurance in the heat. Speechley pops a pass nicely to Eggenhausen. He's gone into the clear. He's looking for support. He's taken out, throws the ball anywhere. What an astonishing bit of football. Parramatta have come up with it. I can't believe that a player of his quality would throw the ball anywhere there like that. It's gone to Don Price. He charges ahead. Parramatta in possession about 30 metres out from the Cronulla line. Have a look at it. Why would he do that? That's a nice absurd bit of football. Mosley mightn't have too many refinements about his game, but there's no suggestion of him ever stopping. Muggleton. Back to Sterling. Sterling then to Wolf. Wolf evades 1, 2. Can't get a pass away as he's wrapped up by Magore up top with Nixon down below. I'll be interested to know what Nixon's tackle count is today. Sterling on the dummy, gets it back into Eden. It's only 5 metres out. It's the last tackle. Cronulla soaking up plenty of pressure here. They go the blind side once again, away to win. 16 tackles for Nixon. I'll suggest that a lot of those have been absolutely critical ones. Oh, they're coming thick and fast, Graeme Hughes.
Yet more changes for Cronulla. Glenn Mortimer is out there on the sideline in 22. He'll go on for Speechley. Speechley will move off. Nixon will go to the 5'8" position and Glenn Mortimer into the lock forward role.
All right, I suggest that you'd probably think of him as a Canterbury player, wouldn't you?
Well, it's hard not to realise a Mortimer somewhere near at Belmore, but he's a player that can stand up on his own accounts, and he was a skipper in the reserve grade side, and he's a talented player with the ball, Glenn Mortimer.
Indeed he is. Well, now we've got only about 8 minutes to go in this match. And both sides, I suggest, are very, very tired. Extremely tired. It's been enervating heat. There have been 8 tries scored. Been a lot of long runs. Sterling back inside to Linda. Linda's going to score. There's a try with a smart bit of football by Sterling. That's a move that Balmain often used with Scott Garvin. He's at half-back and Pearce. And Linda comes up, I believe, with his second try for the match. And we'll watch it on the State Bank replay, and you'll see a steady bit of play there. Nice football from Sterling. They win the scrum and turns it back on the inside. That's one that young Quinn wasn't thinking about on that occasion. And Linda's big, strong body and powerful legs surging over. Again, watch the Sterling input into this. Runs wide, turns the shoulders, takes the tackler out, and gives it to Linda, who's got the power and strength to dispossess himself of 2 tackles. So, fasten your seatbelts. 26 points to 22. 5 metres in from the sideline. A conversion that's going to make it 24-26 if he's successful. Muggleton from towards the sideline. He struck it well. He's done it again. Muggo has done it again for Parramatta, and he's put them within 2 points with 6 minutes to go. Well, the tension here, there might only be 14,500 people in attendance, which is a good crowd, but I tell you what, they're making enough noise for 25,000. This is excitement-packed rugby league. We've seen some astonishingly good football. We've seen some pretty sloppy football, but it's been exciting all throughout. We've had 9 tries, and don't tell me the crowd don't love to see tries scored. 26 points Cronulla, 24 to Parramatta, and my statistician Warwick will count those minutes down for me as we come into the last 5 minutes from now. The kick-off. Now Sterling will want to get down the end of the field, the other end, fairly smartly. Atkins. About 12 metres out from his line. No mistake football for 3 or 4. And then the giant boot to get it down where they can maybe salvage a draw or score a try. They won't do it that way. That pass to Laurie was a horror right behind him. About 3 minutes to go, we are told. Linda. 2-try Linda. Muggleton at dummy half. Out to Sterling. Long cutout pass out to Laurie. He's got men outside him. Gives it away to Krakovic. Krakovic is wrapped up about 4 metres short of the quarter line. Last tackle. Now to Sterling. The boot downfield. Can they keep it in play? Jonathan Docking does. He'll bring it back about 20 metres. He's trying. Oh, Buggo's got him. Lebeater's got him, but he's got up again, the little fella. He's ploughed forward. He's still going. He's up to the halfway line. Great run. That was a David and Goliath contest. He's now about a metre short of the halfway line. Sorensen ploughing straight ahead. A good run from the prop forward with many stitches over his right eye. Now out to Quinn. Quinn on to Perry. Perry ploughs forward. 26-24. Sorensen. Quinn. Glenn Mortimer coming up with a strong tackle that wrapped him right up. Out there to Gavin Miller. Gets a pass away nicely to Nixon. Nixon away to Quinn. Quinn to Sorensen. Sorensen away there to Scott Gustard, and they brought it back to the Parramatta quarter. Last tackle. Quinn. Gone for the grubber type kick. It's going to find touch over Kragovich's head about 4 metres out from the Parramatta line. Gavin Miller runs the blind side. They're going to use it up sensibly. This is Cronulla entitled to hang on and play nothing but steady football. Perry, one-handed pass back into Docking. Docking on the charge. He's tackled but not put down. Gets to his feet. Now he's put down about 4 metres out. Cronulla very short of players on the left-hand side here. If it was swung wide quickly. Miller elects to take the tackle. 26 points to 24, injury time. Cronulla lead. Long cut-out pass that hits a player on the foot. And Parramatta live again. Have they the chance of a scrum? They should get the ball from it as they're put in. Well, the referee not happy with that, Kevin Roberts. Cronulla won't be concerned about how long they take. It's a penalty to Parramatta in the dying stages of the game. Sterling kicks for touch. 2 balls on the field at the moment. The referee's taking time out. We've apparently gone 5 minutes into injury time. I think that's the hooter now with Parramatta in possession. And that's the end of the section. And Cronulla have come up with a dramatic win against the Parramatta side, who were down 24-12 at half-time. They've won 26-24. We've had a number of tries scored in the match, and there they are on the screen at the moment. Cronulla came up with Coleman, Ettinghausen, Watson and Nixon tries. And Growth, Wynn, Linder, 2 for the Parramatta side. The goals have been 5 to Watson, 4 to Muggleton. The scoreline at the top tells the story. Cronulla 26-24.
Gavin, a super first half, but then what happened? You let it slip.
Well, we just lost a lot of intensity in the second half. I think the heat hit both sides, and certainly they won a couple of balls against the scrum, against the feed, and certainly Peter Sterling started to dominate a lot more in the second half. But credit to the boys, they hung in there, and we come up with some great tries and some spectacular tries, and it was full credit to him and full credit to the team, and certainly full credit to Jack Gibson's game plan today. It was terrific.
Was the heat a big advantage for you guys in the first half?
Well, they've got a couple of big guys up front, and certainly I think it took its toll on a couple of big guys, and it wasn't until the shadows came over the ground that they started to get a bit of momentum up front, and we hung in there, and as I said, it was a tough match, and it's always tough here.
Last season was a good one. The game's on the up and up. This year it'll be even better. The battle for the Winfield Cup. True, we've lost some giants. They were a credit to the game. But we've also found some young'uns. They promise to be the same. That's what the big game's all about. It happens every year. We lose a few of our heroes, but find others who know no fear. We see them give it all they know. We see them give it their best shot. 'Cause whether unknown or
saw a big man walking tall. But who will it be this year to collect the greatest prize of all?
A whole heap of upsets in another weekend of Winfield Cup football. Let's now go to all the highlights of all the other games.
It's been a long time since Sydney Rugby League has graced the old Sydney Showground, but yesterday the Royal Easter Show fans had more than show bags and Ferris wheel rides to keep them entertained. A Winfield Cup clash between St George and North Sydney, a match which marked Craig Young's 200th appearance for the Dragons.
And it says best wishes from all of the St George fans, especially to Albert.
Mark Kokis gave the Saints an early lead.
Now kicking it up is Robinson, the dummy. He's out of one. He's over the corner line. Robinson with Conlon to beat. Good defence. Back it goes to Kokis, and Kokis is in.
But a Craig Young error allowed the Bears back into the match.
All year, but they've made a mistake here. North Sydney, Cannon for the line, and Cannon will score.
More disaster for the Saints. Lennon handled twice before outstripping the Dragons' defence, and the scores were level at 8 apiece at half-time.
This will be a try to North Sydney. Lennon will score, and this will make it 8-all. Lennon's in.
Lennon put the Bears in the lead in the second half after some sloppy St George defence.
Puts the kick in, and this will be a try. Or will it going to the line as Tate back on the inside comes Lennon, and Lennon scores.
And when Clayton Friend and Mark Cannon combined for Cannon's second try, it sounded the death knell for the Red and Whites.
Cannon for the line. Cannon will score. North Sydney have got the game all sewn up now.
Cole Fraser scored a consolation try late in the match, but St George tumbled to yet another defeat at 87, going down by 18 points to 16. And while game 200 wasn't a happy one for Saints Craig Young, the same can be said for the 150th for Paul Horton for Manly. Rival skipper Mario Fennick gave the Rabbitohs an early lead. But things got worse for Manly. Form centre Steve Maven crossed for another try just 4 minutes later. But then the Sea Eagles found their wings momentarily. Shearer and Jeremy Ticehurst did some good lead-up work before Ian Barclay loomed in support, and a cheer finally went up at Brookvale Oval. But from cheers to groans, Kangaroo forward Phil Daly received his marching orders for an alleged head-high tackle on Mike Andrews, and Manly were reduced to 12 men. And the Rabbitohs, leading 10-8 at the break, took full advantage. 22 minutes into the second half, Big Ian Roberts increased South's lead. And they scored again before Manly hit back with 2 tries, but it was all in vain as Souths returned to the winner's circle with a 28-18 victory. A victory which was marred with the sending off of Phil Blake in the dying stages. He was originally given 5 in the sin bin, but some back-chatting earned him an appointment with the league headquarters tomorrow night. At Penrith Park, the first half produced only 1 try. It came after just 3 minutes through Raiders winger Matthew Corkery, but it was enough to give Canberra a handy 4-0 lead over the Panthers. However, the boys from the ACT were left a man short after 9 minutes when Chris O'Sullivan received his marching orders for an alleged head-high tackle. Despite that, they still led Penrith 4-2 at the break. Penrith suffered a severe blow when giant second rower Mark Geyer was carried off on a stretcher in the second half. It was 4-all late in the second half, and it took a Malmaninga field goal to break the deadlock and give the Raiders a 1-point lead. It was a courageous performance by the 12-man Raiders outfit, and when Matthew Corkery scored his second try, a runaway late in the match, it assured them of 2 more competition points with an 11-4 victory. Meantime, the Roosters went west to Arana Park as the joint competition leaders, but reputations meant nothing in the first half as the Magpies ruffled the Roosters' feathers. John Elias gave West the early lead after a good break from John Allenson. Newcomer Doug Rawlings relished his opportunity in the top grade, taking advantage of an Ian Naden chip over the top to steer the Magpies to a 12-point lead. And it took a 50-metre intercept try by Kiwi international Gary Prome to bring the Roosters back into contention, but they still trail by 12 points to 4 at half-time. West were to kick a further point clear early in the second half when Ian Naden calmly plotted a drop goal. And when Alan Geelan crossed for Western Suburbs' third try just 5 minutes before full time, it left the 6,000-odd crowd at Arana Park smiling all the way home, with the Magpies getting up by 17 points to 4 in a big upset. And at Leichhardt Oval, the crowd was treated to a typical burst by Test fullback Gary Jack, who cleverly set up the first Tiger try, Ross Codlin being sent on a sprint to the line. Then Jack's Kangaroo teammate Benny Elias shaped for a drop goal, then dummied to take on the Steelers' defence to send Codlin over for try number 2. Illawarra hit back after charging down a clearing kick. Mackie picked up the scraps for the 4-pointer. Scott Gale and Gary Jack then launched another raid on the Steelers' line to come up with another Tiger try. John Davidson crossed wide out before Scott Gale towed and regathered to put the Tigers back on top of the Winfield table with a resounding victory.
A very big turnaround again in weekend football of the Winfield Cup 1987. Let's just check those results for you. Going back to the Saturday match of the day, North Sydney by the 2 points over St George. Canberra in a strong win over Penrith. Balmain, a big win there, 29-8 over Illawarra. West in the major upset of the weekend, 17-4 over Eastern Suburbs. South Sydney in a very solid win. And Cronulla Sutherland in that, well, a real spine tingler here at Parramatta Stadium, 26-24. Now the table looks like this. Balmain clearing out on 12 points. And also the early season pace getters, Canberra right up there with Cronulla. Very disappointing right down the bottom of the premiership table, St George, and certainly struggling. The 85 minor premiers, but with it all to do in 87. Next week's games, South Sydney take on Canterbury Bankstown, Norths and Balmain, Illawarra and Penrith, Canberra versus West, East and Parramatta, Cronulla and Manly Warringah, and St George well and truly deserved of a bye, and 2 points for the Roy Masters coach outfit. Well, hope you've enjoyed all the action again here on Winfield's Week of Rugby League. Until next week, I'm Graeme Hughes. Goodbye for now.